Okay, so let's think of all the things we're supposed to do when we sketch by hand. First thing, y-intercept. How do you find y-intercept? The y-intercept is f of 0. It's what you get when you plug in x equals 0. You put a 0 over 0, what do they equal? 1. There's a y-intercept of 1. Right, that's the y-intercept. All right, how do you find the zeros? The zeros are the numerator, right? If a fraction equals 0, it's because the numerator equals 0. So we can just say 1 minus 3x equals 0. 3x equals 1. X equals 1/3. So our zeros are 1/3. Okay, how do we find the vertical asymptote? The zeros of the denominator, right? So if I set that equal to 0 and solve, Carrie, a question? No. If I add 3x to both sides, then that becomes a positive 3x equals positive 1. I mean, if you want to think of it like subtract 1 from both sides, you would have had negative 3x equals negative 1. And then you would have divided by a negative. And negative 1 over negative 3 is positive 1/3. Okay? So what is the 0 of the denominator? 1. The denominator. 1 minus x equals 0. X equals 1. So vertical asymptote. X equals 1. Okay, what is the horizontal asymptote? Okay, so they have the same power, right? So it's the ratio of the coefficients of the highest degree term, which is 3. So what horizontal asymptote is y equals 3. So let's sketch what we can. So let's see, I'm going to put it in a different color. Let's try black. The y-intercept is 1, that's here. The 0 is 1/3, that would be here. The vertical asymptote is x equals 1, that would be here. The horizontal asymptote is y equals 3, that would be here. And then the last thing is plot a few points, see what you find. You know, we only have 2 points and 1 vertical asymptote on the graph. We could probably, there's got to be a piece of the graph to the left of the vertical asymptote and another piece to the right. What the book says in terms of plotting of points is we should make a point in between any zeros and vertical asymptotes and then something beyond the furthest one to the right, the furthest one to the left. So, I mean, we can play with that. I mean, I don't really see a need to plot a point in between 1/3 and 1, especially because of the y-intercept. I think we can see what's going on here. But maybe we can do one over here like -3, just for fun. Right? And then on the other side, really the only question is this graph going to be somewhere down here or is it going to be somewhere up here? And we know that it will be approaching the horizontal asymptote and the vertical asymptote. So really one point will anchor us where we need to be. So maybe we could pick like +3. If I plug in the -3, 1 minus 3 times -3 is 10. Divided by 1 minus -3, which is 4. So 10 over 4, 2.5. Okay, plug in +3. 1 minus 3 times 3, 1 minus 9 is -8. 1 minus 3 is -2. -8 over -2 is 4. So if I plot those 2 points, -3, +2.5, which is right under the horizontal asymptote, which is good. Makes it look pretty much like what we thought. And 3, 4 is up here. So we know that it approaches the vertical asymptote and the horizontal asymptote should be right there. So if you choose to do it, right, you can, especially if you have an 84 or better, you know, your calculator is going to give you a pretty good graph, but you need to show that you did all these things here.